And ask yourself first, is this going to make me money?
Exactly. Exactly.
Today will be a little bit different, more great value for those of you who are running a business as well. I have a special guest here with me today. Uh, You are in a situation I feel like a lot of people are in that you're working a full-time job and trying to build a business on the side of it, which is super hard. You have that this systematic mindset that helps you get things done. But as always, I'm grateful for you to be here. Please don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Here we go. Well, welcome back, viewers and listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Beth Talks with RSM, Resilient Stars Marketing. And this is a channel where I share all the things that help shape my life for the better. Now, I have recently shared my own personal story, my journey going through ovarian cancer and how I was affected by chemotherapy. Happy to announce today I have hair growing all kinds of different ways, but it's there, and I'm happy to have hair again after all that. And I have recently had a couple of guests as of late sharing their cancer journeys as well as their expertise and help when it comes to business strategy. Today will be a little bit different, more great value for those of you who are running a business as well. I have a special guest here with me today, highlighting the mission of EverGrowth Dynamics. Now, his journey has been marked by continuous growth and transformation. Throughout his career, he's harnessed the power of leadership, team building, innovative thinking, and entrepreneurial mindset. He has a wealth of experience spanning in the telecommunications, manufacturer, and customer service sectors, primarily within Northern New York area. His professional journey includes collaborations with organizations such as General Dynamics, Raytheon, defense logistics agencies, and more. Now, these experiences have sharpened his team development skills. His role provides him with a broad perspective on business opportunities and challenges. He is both creative and solution focused. His motto, I'll venture where others hesitate to find solutions. He holds a lean manufacturing white belt certification and proudly serves on the board of CITEC Business Solutions, North Country Alliance, and the Northern New York Fort Drum chapter of AUSA. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super honored to announce my business strategy coach and friend, Manna Doyle. And Manna, thank you so much for joining us today, taking your time out of your busy schedule to share some valuable information with our viewers. And I appreciate your time and I'm grateful for you being here. And could you first just start out by sharing a little bit of your journey? What inspired you to start EverGrowth Dynamics?
I guess the biggest thing that inspired me to do or to start EverGrowth Dynamics is first, I've always had a passion for small businesses. Um, Second, I know the fear that can come with being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, and trying to strike a line between the two, uh, and between the two of what? So the business and life, right? So there could be something that's bothering you in your life that you bring into the business day, and there could be some snafu or challenge in your business that you take home. So that's another interesting thing that factored into starting EverGrowth Dynamics. But what really made me put the flag in the ground was a client from my day job, because I tend to do more than just government contracting counseling. Um, I tend to delve more into business questions and challenges that they're facing. And at the end of one of our sessions, he said, "Manna," he goes, "You're really living up to your namesake." And it kind of took me back. I was like, "What?" He says, "You're just filling and sustaining us with so much value, that's beyond what your job really calls for. And so I was like, yep, that's it. That's my sign from the universe. I'm going to start. I put my flag in the ground since January, and I've been slugging it out ever since.
Hit the ground running.
Yep.
Well, I know you and I have only been working together for a few sessions now, when you can track me down. Uh, since we've been working together, I know that you have helped me systematically kind of narrow down my focus. And that has helped so much with um, calendar blocking, time blocking, and just being mindful and purposeful with what my schedule looks like so that I can ultimately reach the goal that I have in mind. And some of the things that you have brought to my attention were not always easy decisions for me to make, but they were necessary. I was trying to do too many things at once. I have appreciated your insight and strategic skills and getting things narrowed down piece by piece, so it's easier for me to focus on what I need to do. So yes, you do have a skill, and it is very effective for me so far. So can you share some of those key principles or strategies that your company emphasizes?
Well, one of the main things that I focus on first was what you brought in is time, right? So there's only so much time you have. And if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur like myself, you dream, right? And you want to do so much stuff because you're passionate about what you're doing. And you find a lot of shiny things, and I call it going squirrely, which is like, oh, there's something shiny over here. I want to go over here. And there's something shiny over there. And you tend to lose focus on the core of where you're going. So really, I can't emphasize the importance enough about having a business plan. Now, does it have to be by the book SBA business plan? I wouldn't say so. Start with just a notebook and come up with your vision. Just sketch out a vision. It doesn't have to be textbook. And where you want to go with your business. And then plot that point, because a business plan, it's an ever living document, right? So some businesses will start out, they want to do X or X or Y, right? And they want to focus on X first. Well, then the market says, no, I want you to do Y first. So then you got to, shift gears. Okay, well, we're going to do Y first. Well, make sure you change your business plan around to reflect that. No is the hardest thing to say. It's a small word, but it's a difficult thing to say. And when you first get going, your goal is sales, 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 sales. I got to make sales. I got to make money. I got to progress. The trap in that is saying yes to too much and to too many people that might not be within your core of operations, right? So then it becomes more of, yeah, you're making a sale, but it's also a distraction, right? It's not, it's kind of pulling you or making you pivot unintentionally off of where you are passionate. You're kind of doing it just to make a sale. And it's driven by fear, because you don't want to be, you don't want to not make the sale, and you don't want to disappoint somebody that's coming to you looking for help. Um, but you have to. You know, I've had clients come to me before that, they want to do, I want to open up a car wash, and I want to rent cars, but I also want to run dump trucks to move material off construction sites. I'm like, what? And you want to do it all at once? Do you have a plan? Is it year one car wash, year two car rentals, or year three car rentals, and then is it year four renting dump trucks? What's the plan? And I get the stare, you know, and then I know, okay, we've got to sit down and we've got to develop a plan. If it's something you're passionate about and you really have the knowledge behind it, don't get muddled, right out of the gate, and throw your hands up in the air because you're frustrated. And now you're drowning in appointments and you're not really making any money. You're just busy, 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 right? So that was a long-winded answer, and I apologize for it. But there's so much to the psychology of business that can really derail an entrepreneur, derail a solopreneur.
Yeah. And as you know, everything you just mentioned, I'm guilty of saying yes to everything. And I, I, I don't know. I think a lot of us these days have a little ADHD when it comes to information. Like when you start doing things, you start finding things that are interesting and you just want to learn this and learn that. But to be able
Oh,
to stay focused on your agenda is a
yeah,
skill. So
yeah.
it's not a skill that you learn overnight. It's a matter of
No,
implementing different tools and things along the way to help you stay on track. So I quite often get pulled off tracks.
there's so much noise in the business field. It's like as soon as Facebook or Instagram knows that you're interested in any specific business topic, boom, you're inundated with stuff in your news feed. And, you're scrolling past all this stuff, and it doesn't necessarily add value to you. Not really at the moment, except distracting you. And it happens to me. It's so easy to do. To fall in that hole. Like, oh wow, that's a neat little nifty thing or a nifty little software. Um, but then it's like as much as you have to have boundaries in your life, you almost have to put boundaries in for your business, and rules of engagement.
And ask yourself first, is this going to make me money?
Exactly, exactly.
Could you share with our viewers what makes EverGrowth Dynamics unique and different? Because there are a lot of coaches online now. It's a flourishing business model, and every coach has a very unique thing that makes them different than everybody else. So what stands out to you the most?
You know, as far as coaches, it's all about their approach. So it just hit me the other day. It comes down to the coach's approach. And to me, a business is as much of a living thing as the person running it. And I recognize the connection between the two, right? Um, you know, uh, you could attest to having things that are going on in your personal life that could affect your business life, right? And the stressors and the different directions that it pulls you in. And that really does, in different levels happens with everybody. So instead of looking at every client or potential client as the same as the last client or the next client, I build flexibility into the process. Um, yes, there's the same, I call it the GIFT principle. So, goal identification, initial state assessment, future state vision, and tactical strategy development. And the reason I build my services around that is because each and every one of us is a gift, right? And it seems like, life, whether it's, societal pressures, whether it's pressures that started way back in elementary school and, somebody said something to you and that formed how you interpreted life all the way up through. It's important to do those deep dives, right? And to look at, what are the fears of doing something, right? Can you throw caution to the wind and just do it? No. Okay. Well, why? And then it could be anything, right? It could be, well, they're not going to like me. Okay. Some people won't, but there's going to be a lot of people that will. And you're focusing on a smaller percentage of that group that are going to be negative, or you might post something and they might post something negative about it. And developing that, not hard callous so much as more like
Resilience.
not, yeah, just let it fall off your back. So what? Okay, obviously they're not going to use your service or product. Nuts on them. There's going to be other people out there that really want your product. And if you don't get out there, then you're not going to be seen. Nobody's going to be aware of you. So develop some tools. And that's what I like to work on is develop those tools. And sometimes you already have the tools. You just need that little oomph, to, oh, about this. Okay, well, how are we going to implement it? Like, how are we going to do this? Because it's going to make you stronger and it's going to make you move faster and go forward. Um, because there's a lot of us that have the tools. There's a lot of us that are self-help addicts, right? And we've read it, we've heard the audiobook, we've gone to the movie, we've watched the documentary, and it's all in here. But because of something, it's not allowing you, or you don't think you can use that tool because there's a new tool. So that's about it. Like I think the biggest thing that makes me different is that I look at each individual client as an individual and each issue challenge. It could be in a different spot, They could have nailed it in one area where another client could have not nailed it in that area, right? So it could be just a mismatch puzzle, which we can, quickly go through by, okay, well, what's your vision? Where do you see yourself in 3 years, right? What are your goals that you set out to get to that vision in 3 years? And then why haven't you gotten to those goals to get to that vision, right? So just through questions and empathy, because I think business can be cold, and I think it needs some empathy for the person. That's me.
And there is no cookie cutter answer for anybody, right? Everybody's going
No.
to be different. Everybody has different fears or worries or thoughts. So, sorting them out, customizing a plan, um, is the most effective way, right? And I tell you something that you do that I appreciate. You work with AI, fireflies. So every time we have a meeting and we go over my goals and you advise me on steps for that week that I could take. You have meeting notes that I could go back and refer to and say, what was it that we were set out to? So every time we have a meeting, you automatically email me those notes. And it's a great reference for me, even when we're not working together further on into the future, I could still go back to those action items and refresh my memory on what steps I took or what steps were advised to take. So kudos to you on that. AI is stepping up the game for everybody on that.
And it's nice because I know that there's some people that will be watching this, or there's some people out there that don't want AI to be listening, which is fine. I can just shut it off. But I just wanted to say that I have it set up to the point where only the people that are involved in our meetings have access to those notes. So there is a bit of security, um, anonymity. Nobody else is going to take a look at those notes. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, yeah. In today's world, that's important. Privacy and trust is hard to come by. And I know you are in a situation I feel like a lot of people are in that you're working a full-time job and trying to build a business on the side of it, which is super hard. And you have that systematic mindset that helps you get things done. But can you provide some advice to those of our listeners that are working a full-time job and have wanted to start a business or trying to start a business on the side? How do you manage that um, work-life balance when you don't have a lot of personal time left if you're doing two dual you're having a dual life, really
Mhm.
trying to build a business and work on the side. So what kind of advice can you give for that?
I would say go into it with as much input from the ones closest to you as possible. That way that you feel like you are being supported. Going into this mission, going into what you'd like to do. The second thing is to be real with yourself. Um, you know, that's the one thing that I had to do with myself doing this is okay. So what's reasonable here? You've got 8 hours during the day that are tied up. How are you going to handle this other 8 hour second shift job? And you know, some professions that you get into are more flexible than others. I know that, like, for example, if you're in a crafting type business, uh, you're going to have some deadlines because you're either selling directly, you've got an e-marketplace, or say you do the craft circuits, right? And you go to the fairs and the like Christmas gather, groups and stores and stuff like that. So that kind of builds your strategy. I've got to be ready for the show come November. So how many weeks does it take me to get ready for that? So when you're in a manufacturing position, my biggest advice is to try to know how long it takes you to build one, we'll call it a widget, right? Because you've only got so much time, right? And if you know how many widgets, like say you got, for the show, you've got to be ready and you've got to have so many of widget A, so many of widget B, so many of widget C, and you've got 3 months to build to make all that. So if you know how long it takes you to do these things, uh, then you can grab a piece of graph paper and mark it out. Okay, it takes me an hour and a half to do widget A, and I need to do 10 of them. So how long is it going to take me to do 10 of them? Right. So as soon as you know, then you can kind of plug and play into your schedule. And if you don't want to take that full 8 hour second shift, then you can manage your schedule. Like so from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. is going to be dinner with the family. 6 p.m. to 7, I'm going to make three of widget A. From 7 to 8, maybe I'm going to have some homework time or some fun time with the kids or spouse, right? Then from 8 o'clock, right, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, maybe I want to finish up widget A, right? And maybe meet my goal for what I need for the show. And I'm making it pretty simplistic, right? It's all going to come down to what your reality is. But that's where I'm going. It's like, know how much time you have. Know, are there are those key times where you want to spend time with the kids or spend time with the spouse, or even, make sure you have some, you time as well, because then you can stretch it. Like you're solid 8 hours during the day. It's hard to be a solid 8 hours second shift, right?
Yeah,
And
you have to be careful about burnout too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good to have a burning passion because you're doing stuff that you want to do, right? And you want to bring into this world, which is great. But you can't burn out yourself because you're not useful to yourself if you're tired or you get sick or something like that, right? So, um, you know, just be mindful of that, right?
Yeah, I think that's solid advice. I mean, you got to be systematic. You got to know your timeline and divide and conquer each task with the limited time you have. It sounds easy, but it's
It's
not
challenging.
easy. It's a skill to develop. And it's hard, especially if you have little ones at home, but it can be done, right?
Hmm.
It can be done if you really want something bad enough and a better future, be systematic about it.
Hmm.
Now, are there any exciting events or projects coming up for EverGrowth Dynamics that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start putting together some group, um, I'll say group counseling, and kind of go through uh, my program and break it down, into weeks. So not only will you get a chance to, go through the program, it won't be as intimate as having one-on-one coaching with me, um, but it will give you the overall level of what we're trying to do. It'll be nice because it's in a group setting, so there could be some questions from other people that could be in similar situations, um, and you can leverage that, right? Even if you're not going to be the first one to ask the question, right? Because we're not all the one, going to be like, oh, I've got this question, pick me, right? So that's what I'm working on. Because I think the more people work with me and get become aware of like what I'm about, like I'm not a monster, I'm not going to judge you, it's okay, like there's more of us out here going through the same things or similar things, that just need help, just need direction, right? So it's you're not less than.
Yeah, and accountability is a huge key factor. It's helped me a lot just having somebody that can be accountable for my week to week goals and things that I'm trying to accomplish and to go back and get some feedback on that. A
Mhm.
group setting, I think, is pretty awesome because, like you said, you're not going to be able to think of every question there is to ask, but somebody else might ask a question that's relevant to you and surprisingly didn't even think of it. So that would be awesome. Now, how can our viewers find you and find information more about your group sessions?
I've got a business page on Facebook, so you can find me on there. Uh, I do have a private group that kind of focuses on imposter syndrome. We haven't really touched on that, but um, that's something to be aware of, and you'll see things on my business page about imposter syndrome. You can also send me an email at mdoyle at EverGrowth Dynamics. I do have a web page. It's under construction, like I'm working on it bit by bit, but it's just not really ready yet for the general public. Um, but you can easily reach me through Facebook. If you reach out, connect with me, uh, connect with my page. You can send me a friend request, uh, and that's just Manna Doyle. Uh, so you can find me on Facebook. Um, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me through LinkedIn. And I have a business page on LinkedIn as well.
Well, I'm going to share all your links below so everybody can easily access you, and keep an eye on when your group sessions start. I'll be following up with you, of course. We'll be
Mhm.
working together, so I'll announce anything that's coming up for you as well. Do you have any final thoughts or messages you'd like to leave for our audience today?
The biggest thing that I'd like to leave everybody with is don't be afraid to ask the question. Don't be afraid to network, especially even locally. Like you could, just because you have an online business doesn't mean that you can't build awareness in your local chamber of commerce, your local neighborhood, city, what have you. Um, because even though you might have this thought in your head that, oh my God, there's tons of people out there that do what I do. Yeah, but they're not you, right?
Hmm.
And you bring a special spice to the type of business that you have, right? It's not just your product, it's also you that you're selling. So, network and make those connections, get out there, turn over the rocks.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for all your helpful tips, tricks, and advice today, Manna. That's it. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll let you know when everything is finished. And for you, all you lovely viewers out there, thank you so much for tuning in here on Beth Talks. Meet me back here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you also hit that little notification button so you'll be notified when I upload another new video on Beth Talks. Hey, thanks for tuning in today, and I really appreciate the time that you spent on this, and I hope that you found some valuable insights today. And special thanks goes out to Manna Doyle, my business strategist and coach and friend. Thank you so much for spending time with me on this interview today. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to do another one soon. Peace and love.